Welcome back to Begin Transmission, an original series presented by the litavlog. Every episode is an adventure, and every adventure is an opportunity to learn. I'm your host, Lindsay Kronk, broadcasting from my home office today. And I'm joined by Jacob Shelby, a writer for the litavlog and a metadata and cataloging librarian at Iowa State University. Welcome, Jacob.
Hey.
It's good to have you here. So thanks for coming in to talk with us. It's always fun to have a lively conversation with a metadata and cataloging person. I kind of think of you guys as like the high wizards of librarianship because you have a special vocabulary. Things have to occur at certain points in the day. Can you talk a little bit about yourself and how you got sort of started down that path?
Sure. So yeah, I'm a metadata and cataloging librarian at Iowa State currently, where I do a bunch of metadata stuff, mostly with digitized special collections. But it was a long road to here. So my undergrad was in music education, and like the last part of that was a teaching internship. I got done with that and figured out I did not want to teach. So there was a lot of exploring. During that exploration, I ended up doing some part-time work in a listening lab that is part of the music department that I was in. And I really connected with the students, the professors, so I felt like I should go into librarianship. So found myself at Indiana University, and I actually took a lot of turns when I was there. I worked in a public health library, a music library, a film archive, an audiovisual archive, and did a lot of work as part of a mass digitization initiative that's going on at Indiana University.
That's kind of the grand tour.
Yeah, kind of got my hand in a lot of different areas, but finally ended up really getting into metadata technologies, and that basically got me here. So.
Wow, that's a really incredible story, Jacob. I'm always intrigued to sort of hear where everyone's been and how it's informed their experience. And there have been some really interesting perspectives coming through in all of this. In metadata, in the course of your job, is there a technology tool or application that you use a lot that you'd like to talk about today?
Sure. It's not so much with metadata, but it is a tool that I use quite a bit every day. It's called the Atom editor. It's a text editor. If I remember correctly, it was built by the people at GitHub. And it's built on web technologies, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, but it's an actual like text editor app. But it's really cool because you can add a lot of extensions to it to do different things. So a lot of what I use it for is to write and read code, but as part of what I've been doing currently, I've been writing a lot of documentation for like workflows, procedures, guidelines, all of that stuff.
Those are so important.
Yeah, and I'm gonna disclose this. I really do not like Word. Doing with autocorrection, formatting, all of that stuff. So my starting point when I write documentation is writing it in Markdown.
Mm-hmm.
And Atom works really well with Markdown. So that's usually my beginning point, and then I can convert those Markdown files into Word, PDF, whatever else. So I use it a lot for writing documentation, actually.
Sounds like an awesome tool, Atom Editor. Is there a new technology that excites you? Are you among the BibFrame enthusiasts?
I'll say that I'm excited about linked data in general. There are a lot of possibilities with linked data, being able to connect data. You're not bound to certain languages as you are kind of with XML. It's easy to build and extend existing vocabularies. So yeah, I feel like linked data in general is going to be really cool. So yes, that's my stand.
Is there a skill, you talked a little bit about like scripts, languages, this tool you like to use. Is there a skill, when you sort of took this circuitous route through all of these areas, is there a skill that you wish that you'd had sort of in your toolbox earlier that you'd suggest for emerging new folks who are just fresh to the profession now?
Yeah, so in general, I think code literacy is a really important thing, especially now since we're moving more into technology, we're moving more into open source. Every facet of librarianship deals with technology to a certain extent, and I feel that code literacy is an important facet of that. Um, it really helps in my work. It really helps communicating with IT professionals because I feel one of the big challenges between librarians and IT, there's a communication barrier.
Yeah, there really is. I've definitely, and it's so much just about vocabulary and not using. I found that like sometimes I'll reach for my in my brain what I would consider a synonym, but it's a term, right? That's
Mm.
used in a very specific way in IT. And so restricting my vocabulary has just been such a part of sort of opening those pathways of communication and really being clear in what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so clear communication as well as knowing what technology can do. I mean, knowing code will help you understand what a machine is actually doing. Can it do what you want it to do, and how can it do that? So knowing how a machine works, you can better communicate with an IT professional in coming up with a solution, solving problems, things like that.
That's a really good piece of advice there. Now, Jacob, sort of my last question to you is going to be if people are interested in learning more about what you do, getting more of a perspective on your work, do you have any sort of public channels you'd like to share with us today? I know you're on the Lita blog.
Yeah, so I do blog posts for the Lita blog. Also, if you go to my website, which is jacobshelby.org, I that website has examples of projects I've done. It also has connections to all of my social networks, Twitter, GitHub, and LinkedIn.
Awesome. I guess I also want to ask, just because I'd love to see you in person, are you going to come to Fort Worth for the Lita Forum this year?
I hope so.
Good. Well, I hope to see you there. I guess that brings us to the close of this transmission. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, Jacob.